Now it's time to calibrate the servos. The book says this is a little tricky, so I'll walk through it. So we have the servo motor, and we have this little box of, little bag, I don't know why I said box, little bag of servo fittings, I'll call them. So we're going to take out the fitting that looks like this, and I don't know if we're going to use these others, but for now just leave the rest in the bag because there's tiny screws and all. And we're going to hold the servo like this. So the way these servos work, real quickly here, they work on digital signals. There's power, ground, and signal. And this is a 180 degree servo. There are different kinds. There are continuous servos where it either just continuously rotates at a certain speed in one direction or the other, but these are not that kind. These are servos where we tell it, we want you to point this way or we want you to point that way. And so it's 180 degrees from one end to the other. So this is all done through pulse width modulation on the signal line, and you'll see more about that later. But they want us to calibrate the servo shaft. So right now we don't know which way this is pointing. Is it pointing that way? Is it pointing that way? So they basically want us to slide this on and then turn it, and do this gently because you can see there are a lot of plastic gears in the gearbox here. We don't want to strip those gears. So do it gently, and you can feel how it turns. And you want to turn it, you can see I turn it all the way as far as it could go until it stopped right here. So now we know that that is basically this position. And then we can turn it again until it stops here. And oh, interesting. So now we know that that's probably closer to that. So we turn it again, and you can see it's a little more than 180 degrees. But they say that's okay. We can make some adjustments in software later on to account for that slop. And the reason that's slop, I call it, is because this is it's because there are tines on this motor shaft that allow us to lock this in place, and you just can't, get those tines. They provide a little bit of variation. And then what Sunfounder wants us to do is set the motor shaft to the 90 degree position. So if this is 0 degrees, this is 90, this is 180. So they want us to set each one of the servos to 90 degrees like I just did, and then pull the shaft off, and now the servo is calibrated. So do that with the other two motors.